the other thing that I really want to pull in here is a major piece of disclosure that I believe is also a reflection of the intergalactic interstellar shifts that have been occurring. And that is the release of a movie called Sounds of Freedom. Now, here, let me pull up, because as you guys know, I don't remember names very well. I kind of, names get lost unless I have a story to go along with the name and we've had a deep conversation. Chances are, the name's not going to stick with me. So um, let me pull this up real quick, because so The Sound of Freedom is a movie about, it's a major piece of disclosure. It's a movie about child trafficking. And there is this former FBI agent that his name is Tim, that was extremely moved and years ago by a story trying to get a brother united with the sister. And this movie is about that journey of him going into all these into the child trafficking rings in order to find the sister. And what's really interesting on an archetypal level is that the person chosen to play his role in this movie also played Jesus in in a movie that came back several years ago. And I can't remember the name of that movie, unfortunately, but I'm told it was a very graphic movie. I never watched it. My sister watched it, because she wanted to watch it because she was studying Arabic at the time, and she was really surprised on how much she understood because the language in the movie was primarily Aramaic. I believe it was a movie directed by Mel Gibson. Um, the Assumption? Nope, that wasn't it. It was a movie about Jesus's life. Anyway, the man that played Jesus is also playing the role of this former FBI agent called named Tim. And the timing, the synchronicity of the releasing of this movie is quite interesting, um, because I feel like, you know, those of us who look into alternative news, alternative stories, a lot of things are capped conspiracy. And especially since COVID, a lot of these conspiracies have come out to be absolutely true, which, and that truth gets through the mainstream human consciousness. And the narrative about the child trafficking thing was for a very long time played off as a conspiracy theory, not real, especially the really dark stuff. But what this movie shows is that this man has been on the front lines of recovering these children and freeing all, like, thousands, tens of thousands of children from child trafficking, sex slavery, all this stuff, and that he's been doing it for decades. Right. And he, in some of these interviews, go on YouTube, it's all over the place on YouTube. In these interviews, he's talking about the tens of thousands that they've rescued and their process of, rehabilitating and all this stuff. So the coming out of this movie is finally acknowledging the traumas that have been happening on a mass level to the world's innocence, the world's children. Okay. And I feel like this is a direct feedback loop to some very important interstellar intergalactic events that have taken place. One of them has been the arrival of the divine masculine. I'm talking about the not the distorted masculine Yahweh God that we've been talked about, but the true principles of divine masculine frequencies. And the fact that this movie came out, it is in theaters. It was released July 4th, which was also in alignment with the Syrian Stargate. Okay, so right? You guys remember me talking about the Syrian Stargate opening and being open for a prolonged period of time, which is highly, highly, which is unprecedented, okay, in the human history, as far as I know. And the different elemental beings that I know also talk about this being the first that it's been open in a prolonged way. So I feel like the production of this movie, the making of it, the release of it in major theaters is a feedback loop of the rise of divine masculine principles in the collective. It's like the collective is now ready to receive it. The collective is now ready to wake up to it. Okay. So these rolling disclosures are fascinating. We had Greer with the ET connection. We have this Sound of Freedom thing coming on and being released in theaters. So it's taking that conspiracy niched out conversation into the mainstream, which is extraordinary. You know, Tony Robbins also did an interview with these guys. When I listen to these men talk about the stories of, the stories of how this whole project got together, how he got into rescuing these children. I guess it started in Haiti. As you guys know, there was a very prolonged alternate narrative about the Clinton Foundation and the terrible things that they did, and they got caught doing in Haiti. The representatives got caught doing in Haiti, right? Stealing kids, all this stuff. That's where he really got rolling in the organization to get these kids out of these situations. But when you listen to all these men talk about the story, the journey, how it impacted them, it's like I can see in their eyes, in their hearts, that they are ablaze. They are ablaze with their divine masculine qualities. And oh wow, emotion. Yeah. See, it's a lot of emotion here. And especially the one with Tony Robbins, that was interesting. They all cried. They all at one point cried. And they cried in honor of each other. Like, man, I got to tell you, watching you do this and how you did that. And like, while they are giving props to each other, they are all so moved and inspired by each other. And, to see this is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal, because that overrides the distorted reptilian predator program we have in our brains about competition, having to put one person down in order to feel where there's winners and there's losers, and the spirit of this is that we're all coming together to reclaim innocence, to reclaim the beauty of humanity. So if you guys have some time and you want to watch some YouTube videos, there's some threads for you to follow. Very inspirational. And they do talk about the stuff and how awful some of it is. So there is some really dark stuff in there, but it's completely overshadowed by the inspiration, by the beauty of coming together, supporting each other, all the way to help each other realize one's vision, realize what, a vision of what truly is important to them and their personal principles, the personal value system. So exciting times, guys, exciting times. We are all being called to our authentic truth, and in that there's this, I want to say, river flow. There's this current that pulls us up into our bigger truth, into our personal value system, and standing up from that and speaking from that place. And, this is a huge tipping point, because before, the currents of the collective were geared towards separation, were geared towards, power abuses, the grid work programming, that was informing us on a subconscious level, keeping us down, keeping us enemies, keeping us separate, either, socially, racially, gender wise, whatever, And it's really fascinating that now, for those who actually are willing to know how they feel and get into what their authentic truth is, the current is so strong for them to step forward and speak, step forward and live with their actions according to their personal principles, what their inner value system is, right? I'm so excited for humanity right now. So excited.